He stopped his luxury car at a dusty roadside and saw a beggar woman with 2 children. But when she turned and he saw her face, his world shattered. She wasn't just a stranger. She was the woman he had once loved, and the mother of his forgotten children. The sun had just begun its slow rise over the red hills of Mavuno, a bustling town nestled at the edge of an old trade route. The early morning air was thick with smoke from cooking fires and the sound of roosters declaring their victory over the night. In the heart of town, near the popular Kubwa Junction, where buses came and went like restless birds, a luxury black Land Cruiser crawled to a gentle halt. It was a strange sight among the boda-bodas and tuk-tuks. Heads turned. Market women paused their chopping. Even the town drunk, Baboom Genie, squinted at the polished vehicle and muttered, "Must be someone big." Out stepped Mr. Jabari Tembo. Known as the Lion of Mavuno, Jabari was a legend in town. A millionaire businessman, he had built an empire from scratch, from selling used car parts in his teenage years to owning a chain of construction companies across East Africa. His suits were stitched in London, but his heart belonged to the soil of Mavuno. But today, his face bore an unusual stillness. He wasn't here for business. Jabari was in Mavuno for one reason only: to lay the first brick of a new orphanage. Personal project. A promise he had made long ago. As he stood near the junction, giving brief instructions to his driver, he caught sight of a woman sitting beneath the withered branches of a fig tree. At her side, 2 small children huddled together, their clothes torn, feet caked with dust. The boy, maybe 7, was trying to sell groundnuts in a torn plastic cup, while the girl, even younger, clung to a dull rag doll. The woman's head was bent. A faded shawl covered her hair. But when she looked up, just for a moment to adjust the girl's dress, something in Jabari's chest tightened. That face. That look in her eyes. Like the shadow of a memory. He took a cautious step forward. Then another. His heart, usually firm in the face of million-shilling deals and political debates, now pounded like a village drum. As he drew closer, the woman finally looked straight at him. And everything inside him came to a halt. "Zawadi!" She flinched. Her lips parted but no sound came out. Before he was Jabari the millionaire, he had been Jabari the dreamer, a lean young man with cracked shoes and calloused hands, helping his mother at the vegetable stall during the day and reading borrowed books under kerosene light at night. Zawadi had been the light in his long, hard youth. Daughter of a local tailor and known across Mavuno for her kindness and fierce spirit, she was the type of girl who would give away her last coin to a hungry child and still smile as if she'd won something. Their love grew in silence, unspoken but understood by every stolen glance, every shared mango during rainy days. But life as always had other plans. Jabari left Mavuno for Nairobi on a scholarship, promising to return to build a better life to marry Zawadi. Letters were written. Hopes held high. But then one day the letters stopped coming. Zawadi vanished. They had told Jabari when he returned to Mavuno 5 years later, now a budding businessman. One day she was here, the next gone. Some said she ran away. Others whispered she had been pregnant and shamed into hiding. Rumors flew like kites in a storm, but none touched the truth. Jabari searched. Yes. He even put posters in nearby villages. Nothing. Eventually, he buried her memory in the corners of his heart and focused on his growing empire. Now, standing face to face with the beggar woman under the fig tree, the truth was no longer buried. It stood in front of him, in the form of tired eyes, thin shoulders, and 2 children who looked like they belonged in his dreams. Zawadi stared at him for a long time. Then she whispered, "You shouldn't have come. Zawadi. I thought you were gone," she finished. "I was." Silence stretched between them. The children looked up, confused. The boy stepped in front of his mother, guarding her with all the bravery of a lion cub. "Don't hurt her," he said with trembling lips. Jabari knelt. "I won't," he said softly. "What's your name, little one?" The boy hesitated. "Bahati," he said. "And this is my sister, Amani." The names hit Jabari like a wave. Bahati, meaning luck. Amani, meaning peace. Two names Zawadi used to say she would give their children, if they ever had any. His throat dried. He looked at her. Are they a mine? Zawadi did not answer. But her silence spoke louder than words. Later that afternoon, under the shade of a quiet mango tree behind the junction, Zawadi finally told him everything. The shame, the betrayal, the pain of being left behind by someone she loved and trusted. I wrote to you, Jabari, she said, her voice shaking. For months. But your replies never came. Then Mama got sick. Had no money. People started talking, calling me names, whispering about my belly. My father threw me out. I slept in church courtyards. I begged for food. Her hands trembled as she picked at the hem of her faded dress. I thought you had forgotten me. Jabari clenched his fists. I never received any letter. My address changed. The man I was staying with. He might have hidden them. He didn't want me distracted. Zawadi nodded slowly. It doesn't matter now. But it does, he said. It matters so much, Zawadi. She looked at him then, not as a millionaire, but as the boy from the vegetable stall with dreams in his eyes. Why are you really here? She asked. I came to build a home, he replied. For children who've lost everything. I just didn't know mine were among them. A soft wind blew across the town of Mavuno that evening. Smoke from cooking fires curled into the sky, and the hum of crickets replaced the day's noise. But for Jabari Tembo, the air felt heavy, as if fate itself was holding its breath. He stood outside the small shelter Zawadi and her children called home, a crumbling one-room structure behind an old carpenter's workshop. No bed, no electricity, just a mat, 2 torn blankets, and the stubborn resilience of a mother who had fought alone for a decade. Inside, Bahati and Amani were fast asleep, curled like kittens against their mother's arms. Jabari watched from the door, unsure whether to step in or turn away. Zawadi noticed. You can come inside, she said quietly. But don't speak too loud. Amani just fell asleep. She cries when strangers are near. Jabari entered, careful not to make a sound. He sat on the floor, legs crossed. He stared at the wall for a long moment before whispering, They're beautiful. Both of them. Zawadi nodded, her face unreadable. You must hate me, Jabari added. No, she said. I just buried you. And now here you are. I don't know how to feel. Jabari rubbed his face with both hands. When I left Mavuno, I swore I'd come back rich. I swore I'd come back for you. And when I did, they told me you'd run away. I looked everywhere. But not hard enough, she replied softly. Not where it mattered. He looked at her then, really looked. The girl he loved was still in there, behind those tired eyes. But time had carved its own map across her face. Worry, hunger, loneliness. He hadn't just lost her, he'd failed her. I want to fix this, he said. Zawadi looked down at her sleeping children. You can't fix the past, Jabari. You can't buy back time. No, he agreed. But I can give them a future. The next morning, Mavuno buzzed with whispers. Did you hear? Jabari Tembo is walking with that beggar woman, the one by the junction. She was the one who vanished years ago, remember? Zawadi the tailor's daughter. I heard those kids are his. Whether in the market or outside the church, tongues wagged like hungry dogs. But Jabari ignored them all. He stood in front of the mayor's office with Zawadi at his side, one hand holding a folder, the other holding Bahati's. I've added them to my will, he announced to the mayor, who looked like he'd swallowed hot pepper. Bahati and Amani are my legal children now. You're serious? The mayor blinked. Do I look like I'm joking? But, the press, your investors, this could. I don't care, Jabari said. They are mine. That's all that matters. And with that, he handed over the papers. Not everyone celebrated. Some called it madness. Others accused Zawadi of trapping Jabari for money. Even some of Jabari's board members whispered about reputation and scandal. "Sir," one of them said during a tense meeting, "this situation with the woman and children, it's dangerous for our image. Investors are watching." Jabari rose from his chair. "I built this company on honesty, sweat, and loyalty," he said. "If my image can't survive me acknowledging my own children, then maybe it was never worth anything." Silence fell across the room. That was the day they stopped questioning him. The transition wasn't easy. Bahati struggled the most. He had lived his whole life protecting his mother. Now suddenly he had a father, a big house, a bedroom of his own, and food he didn't have to fight for. But it came with confusion. "You left her," he said one day to Jabari, voice shaking. "Why should I trust you?" Jabari knelt beside him, pain flickering in his eyes. "I didn't leave her, Bahati. I lost her. But I promise I won't lose you." Took time. Many stories by the fire. Many football games in the backyard. Many quiet moments when Jabari listened without speaking. And slowly Bahati softened. Amani, younger and gentler, grew attached more quickly. She would crawl into Jabari's lap with her ragged doll and fall asleep there. He never moved until she did. Zawadi, too, found the shift difficult. The mansion was beautiful. Too beautiful. She missed the sound of goats outside her window, the smell of earth after rain, the rhythm of cooking over fire. She refused a maid. She cooked for the children herself. She refused designer clothes. She still wore her old shawl. One night Jabari asked gently, "Why won't you let go of the past?" Zawadi looked at him with tired eyes. "Because it never let go of me." He nodded. "Then we'll carry it together. One memory at a time." Months passed. One morning, the people of Mavuno woke to something extraordinary. A grand structure stood where the old community field had once been, the Zawadi Children's Center. Sign outside read, "For every child abandoned by fate. For every mother forgotten by the world. This is a place of second chances." Built with Jabari's money and Zawadi's vision, the center offered shelter, schooling, and warm meals to over 200 children from nearby villages. Zawadi became its director. She arrived every morning with her old shawl, a clipboard, and a heart full of fire. The same people who once gossiped about her now stood in awe. "She's changed lives," they whispered. Maybe he was lucky to find her again. Amani grew up to be a teacher. Bahati, driven by a deep desire to protect others, became a lawyer for women and children's rights. And Jabari? He stepped back from his companies and became a storyteller, going from village to village telling his tale. About a boy who fell in love. About the woman he lost. About the family he never knew he had. And about the day he saw a beggar under a fig tree and recognized everything he thought he'd forgotten. One quiet afternoon, Jabari and Zawadi walked back to the same dusty road where they first met again. The fig tree was still there. Zawadi placed her hand on its trunk and smiled. "You found me here once," she said. "And I'll find you here always," Jabari replied. She turned to him, her voice soft. "Do you ever wish things had gone differently?" "No," he said, wrapping an arm around her. "Because every hard turn, every lost letter, every dusty road led me back to you." And beneath the shade of the same fig tree, their story, of love lost and found, of broken hearts healed, and of children rising from ashes, finally came full circle. Moral: even the forgotten have stories that can rewrite legacies. Sometimes the richest man is the one who remembers where he came from, and who he left behind.